You know what you want to say. You can feel it. The words are right there. But something happens. The moment arrives, and you go quiet. The conversation moves on, and you're left holding everything you didn't say, wondering why you never just said it. Psychology says this isn't weakness, it isn't cowardice, and it isn't nothing. Here's the real reason some people shut down instead of speaking up. 1. Your nervous system learned that speaking up wasn't safe. For many people, the shutdown response begins in childhood, not from a single dramatic event, but from a pattern. Speaking up led to dismissal. Expressing feelings led to punishment, mockery, or being told you were too sensitive. The nervous system is a fast learner. It drew a conclusion: voice equals risk. Psychologists call this conditioned silence, when the act of speaking becomes neurologically associated with danger. The body shuts down the voice before the mind even decides to speak. It's not a choice, it's a reflex. 2. You're protecting the relationship. Many people who go quiet aren't suppressing themselves, they're protecting someone else. Research on conflict avoidance shows that people who shut down in confrontation often have a deep, unconscious belief that their honesty will damage the relationship, that the other person can't handle it, that speaking the truth will cost them the connection. So they absorb, they accommodate, they choose the relationship over the moment. Psychology calls this fawn response, appeasing to preserve. It feels like kindness. It is, in part. But it also means their real self never fully shows up. 3. They're waiting to feel safe enough, and safe never comes. Psychologists note that people with anxious attachment patterns often postpone speaking up until they feel completely safe to do so. But the threshold for safety keeps rising. The right moment never arrives. The conversation ends. The opportunity closes. They weren't being passive. They were waiting for a certainty that doesn't exist in human relationships. Safety in speaking up isn't something you wait for. It's something that builds only after you've spoken. 4. Emotional flooding shuts the system down. In high-stakes moments, conflict, criticism, emotional intensity, the brain can enter a state psychologists call flooding. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking, reasoning part, goes offline. The emotional brain takes over. And in that state, coherent speech becomes nearly impossible. It's not that they have nothing to say. It's that the system has exceeded its processing capacity. The shutdown isn't emotional weakness. It's a neurological event. The words are there. The circuitry needed to speak them has temporarily gone dark. 5. They don't believe their voice matters. Research consistently links chronic silence to low perceived self-worth. Not low intelligence, not low emotion. The specific belief that what they think, feel, or need is not important enough to occupy space in the room. They've been told, directly or indirectly, that their perspective is an inconvenience, that their feelings are an overreaction, that their needs are too much, so they take up less space. They make themselves smaller. They wait to be asked, and when they're not asked, they take that as confirmation. 6. The shutdown is exhausting to carry. Most people see the quiet and assume nothing is happening. Psychology tells a different story. Inside the shutdown, there is enormous activity, emotion being managed, words being swallowed, energy being consumed, holding everything in place. The silence isn't empty, it's full. And carrying it, day after day, wears the nervous system down in ways that are invisible from the outside. So if you've ever held your voice back in a moment that mattered, psychology doesn't call you passive or weak. It says your silence has been doing a tremendous amount of work, and that work deserves to be seen. You don't have to say everything, but you deserve to say something. Your voice was never the problem. Subscribe. Because here, we don't just explain behavior. We hold space for what lives underneath it.